21 The Bible record nowhere sets out the requirement of a religious ceremony or the services of a clergyman. According to the arrangement in Bible times, the requirement would consistently be that a marriage be legalized according to the laws of the land and that marriages and births be registered where such a provision is made by law. Since the Caesar governments exercise such control of marriage, the Christian would be obliged to apply to them for the legalizing of a marriage. And even if he should desire to use the adultery of his mate as a scriptural ground for terminating the marriage, he must obtain a legal divorce if this is possible. A Christian who remarries without due respect for scriptural and legal requirements, therefore, would be violating God's laws. Mount 19. 9. Row 13. 1. Marriage and the resurrection. A group of Jesus' opponents who did not believe in the resurrection asked Jesus a question that was calculated to embarrass him. In answering them, he revealed that those who have been counted worthy of gaining that system of things and the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. Luke 20. 34, 35. Mount 22. 30. Symbolic uses. Throughout the scriptures, Jehovah speaks of himself as a husband. He considered himself as married to the nation of Israel. Isra 54. 1, 5, 6. 62. For when Israel rebelled against Jehovah by practicing idolatry or some other form of sin against him, this was spoken of as committing prostitution like an unfaithful wife, providing cause for his divorcing her. Isra 1. 21. J 3. 1-20. Ho 2. In Galatians chapter 4 the Apostle Paul likens the nation of Israel to the slave girl Hagar, the concubine of Abraham, and the Jewish people to Hagar's son Ishmael. Just as Ishmael was the son of the secondary wife of Abraham, so the Jews were the children of the secondary wife of Jehovah. The tie binding Israel to Jehovah was the law covenant. Paul likens Jerusalem above, Jehovah's woman, to Sarah, Abraham's free wife. Of this free woman Jerusalem above, Christians are the free spirit begotten children. 4. 21-31. Compare Isra 54. 1-6. As the great Father, Jehovah God, like Abraham, oversees the selection of a bride for his Son Jesus Christ. Not an earthly woman, but the Christian congregation. GE 24. 1-4. 2th 13. 1 PE 2. 5 The first members of Jesus' congregation were presented to him by the friend of the bridegroom, John the Baptizer, whom Jehovah had sent ahead of his son. Joe 3. 28, 29 This congregational bride is one spirit with Christ, as his body. 1 Co 6. 17. F1. 22, 23. 5. 22, 23 Just as the bride in Israel bathed and adorned herself, Jesus Christ sees that in preparation for marriage his bride is bathed so that she is perfectly clean without a spot or blemish. F5. 25-27 In Psalm 45 and Revelation 21 she is shown o textoi acute urethra longo, Martha 345 sternum, and the pelvis contain red, erective, marrow. Red marrow plays an important role in the formation of blood. It yields the oxygen-carrying red blood corpuscles, the important clotting agents called platelets, and a large percentage of white corpuscles, which primarily serve as fighters of infection. As a blood-forming organ, the marrow has a direct effect upon an individual's health and vigor. Hence, Job 21. 24 appropriately alludes to a well-nourished and healthy person under the figure of one whose bone marrow is being kept moist. Animal bone marrow was apparently used for food by the Israelites. Compare Mic 3. 2, 3. It has a very high nutritional value, being rich in protein, fats, and iron. Jehovah's banquet for all the peoples, therefore, fittingly includes symbolic well-oiled dishes filled with marrow. Isra 25. 6. In Hebrews 4. 12 The word of God is compared to a weapon that is sharper than any two-edged sword and can penetrate the thoughts and motives of an individual, piercing, as it were, clear to the marrow, the innermost part of the bones. Marcelo March Middle Snar. One of 7 princes consulted by Ahasuerus on Vashti's refusal to obey. as 1. 14. Mars Hill. C. Areopagus. Marshmallow Heb. Chel Muth. A perennial plant that is closely related to the hollyhock. The woody stems of the marshmallow Althea officinalize measure up to 1.8 meters, 6 feet in height. The plant's large, wide leaves are notched and terminate in a sharp point. Both the stems and the leaves are covered with soft downy hair. The pale pink, 5-petal flowers are about 5 centimeters 2 inches across. In times of famine, the marshmallow's white carrot-like root has been used for food. The sole scriptural reference to the marshmallow alludes to its tastelessness. Job 6. 6. The Hebrew term chal muth, found only at Job 6. 6, has been variously rendered eggers, kj, purslanat, and, as defined in the Hebrew and Aramaic lexicon by L. Kula and W. Baumgartner, Marshmallow Lexicon in Veteris Testamenti Libros, Leiden, 1958, p. 304. Martha. A Jewess, the sister of Lazarus and Mary of Bethany. Job 11. 1, 2 Evidently Christ often visited their home when he was in the vicinity of Jerusalem. Bonds of affection existed between him and these three, for it is specifically said, "Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus." Job 11. 5. Luke reports that when Jesus entered a certain village, a certain woman named Martha received him as guest into the house. Luke 10. 38 on the basis of Matthew 26. 6, Mark 14. 3, and John 12. 1-3, the thought has been advanced that Martha was the wife, or the widow, or even the daughter of Simon the leper. However, the scriptures do not make any specific statements in support of these views. On one occasion when Jesus visited the home of Lazarus, Mary, and Martha, Mary sat down at the feet of the Lord and kept listening to his word, whereas Martha was distracted with attending to many duties. Martha tried to obtain Mary's assistance, saying, "Lord, does it not matter to you that my sister has left me alone to attend to things? Tell her, therefore, to join in helping me." Obviously Martha was concerned about satisfying Jesus' material needs. But Christ then emphasized the excelling value of spiritual things and gave her kind reproof, saying, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and disturbed about many things. A few things, though, are needed, or just one. For her part, Mary chose the good portion, and it will not be taken away from her." Luke 10. 38-42 Christ would have been satisfied with one item of food if his doing so would mean that Martha, too, would gain greater advantage from his teaching. While it may seem that Martha was overly concerned with material things, it should not be concluded that she lacked interest in spiritual matters. After the death of Lazarus, it was Martha who went to meet Jesus as he journeyed to Otextoi acute Miritra Longo. Mary 346 tell you that if you would believe you would see the glory of God. That she witnessed when her brother was resurrected. Job 11. 39-44. After the resurrection of Lazarus, Christ departed. Later, he returned to Bethany and gathered with others, including Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, in the home of Simon the leper. An evening meal had been prepared and again Martha was ministering. Lazarus was at the table, and it was on that occasion that Mary anointed Jesus with costly perfumed oil. Job 12. 1-8. Mount 26. 6-13. Mr. 14. 3-9 The scriptures are silent regarding subsequent events in Martha's life and the time and circumstances of her death. Mary Marai from the Heb. Miriam, possibly meaning rebellious. There are 6 Marys mentioned in the Bible. 1. Mary the mother of Jesus. She was the daughter of Heli, though the genealogy given by Luke lists Mary's husband Joseph as the son of Heli. Says M. Clintock and Strong's Cyclopedia 1881, Volume 3, p. 774. In constructing their genealogical tables, it is well known that the Jews reckoned holy by males, rejecting, where the blood of the grandfather passed to the grandson through a daughter, the name of the daughter herself, and counting that daughter's husband for the son of the maternal grandfather num. XXVI, 33. XXVII, 4-7. It is undoubtedly for this reason the historian Luke says that Joseph was the son of Heli. Luke 3:23. Mary was of the tribe of Judah and a descendant of David. Hence it could be said of her son Jesus that he sprang from the seed of David according to the flesh. Row 1. 3. Through his adoptive father Joseph, a descendant of David, Jesus had a legal right to David's throne, and through his mother, as the offspring, seed, and root of David, he held the natural hereditary right to the throne of David his father. Mount 1. 1-16. Luke 1:32. Act 13. 22-23. 2T2. 8. Re 5. 5. 22. 16. If tradition is correct, Heli's wife, the mother of Mary, was Anna, whose sister had a daughter named Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptizer. This tradition would make Elizabeth the cousin of Mary. That Mary was related to Elizabeth, who was from the daughters of Aaron of the tribe of Levi, the scriptures themselves state. Luke 1:5-36. Mary's sister, some have thought, was Salome, the wife of Zebedee, whose 2 sons, James and John, were numbered among Jesus' apostles. Mount 27. 55-56. Mr. 15. 40. 16. 1. Joe 19. 25. Visited by angel. About the beginning of 2 BCE the angel Gabriel was sent by God to the virgin girl Mary in the town of Nazareth. Good day, highly favored one, Jehovah is with you, was the angel's most unusual greeting.